Sirens blared in the distance, fading into the night as Alex cradled the bear's massive, limp head in his lap. The warmth had already begun to drain from its body. "Hold on," Alex whispered, pressing his hand to the bear's chest. "You're not dying in the back of this truck, not after what you've survived." Within minutes, they pulled into the gravel driveway of a modest cabin clinic, barely marked, barely legal. The vet was already waiting, summoned by a panicked call from Alex during the ride. She stood barefoot on the porch, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders, eyes wide with disbelief. "What is that?" she gasped, stepping back as Alex hauled open the truck's rear doors. "This is Kodiak," he said, lifting the bear's name out of nowhere as if it had always belonged to him. "And he's not dying tonight." Dr. Tessa Reeve had seen her share of brutal cases. She'd treated poached elk, starved wolves, even a cougar hit by a semi. But nothing like this. Kodiak looked like a bear pieced together from suffering. Bones jutting beneath shredded muscle, patches of skin where fur no longer grew, crusted wounds, swollen joints, and an eye so clouded it barely looked real. His breathing was shallow, his body trembling uncontrollably. "He should be dead already," Tessa whispered, stunned. Alex helped her and a tech wheel the gurney into the clinic's rear surgery room. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as they worked fast. IVs were threaded into collapsing veins. Fluids pumped in. Antibiotics were injected. Vitals were taken, repeatedly dropping into critical territory. A portable scanner was brought in. Blood samples were drawn and rushed under a microscope. Tessa's expression turned graver by the minute. The scan revealed more than expected. Embedded metal fragments, likely from an old bullet lodged deep in the shoulder. Scarring consistent with steel-jawed traps. Dozens of healed-over cuts, probably from barbed wire or fighting dogs. Old fractures. An eye infection so advanced it had likely blinded him on that side, and beneath the neck, a foreign object. A microchip. Tessa blinked. He was owned. Alex stepped closer as she scanned it. The registration came back instantly, but the organization no longer existed. Shut down 5 years ago under criminal investigation. Midwest Imperial Circus. Alex stared at the name. He remembered the headlines: animal cruelty, criminal neglect, performers jailed. But most animals had vanished when the circus collapsed. Some were sold, others dumped. The microchip had a name, too. Not Kodiak. Subject 0347. Teddy. A chill ran through the room. The story was beginning to take shape. Kodiak had likely been bred in captivity, taught to perform as a cub, made to dance on hot plates, ride bicycles, wear a tutu while tourists laughed, beaten into obedience, trained by fear. When his body began to fail, they discarded him, just like broken equipment. "I hate people," Tessa muttered, scribbling notes furiously. Alex said nothing. He stepped back and looked at the bear. No, at Kodiak. A being reduced to a number, then to nothing. He couldn't explain it, but something in him wouldn't let go. Not just of the mission, of the bear. Tessa paused when she noticed the way he was looking at Kodiak. "You've seen things, haven't you?" she asked softly. Alex nodded once. Then, after a long silence, he spoke. "My younger brother, Danny, died when we were teenagers. Foster home left him locked in a basement for 3 days. No food, no light. I was in another home. By the time I found out, it was too late." Tessa didn't move. "He was just a kid," Alex said. "Used, forgotten, abandoned like garbage, and everyone looked away, pretended he didn't matter." He gestured to Kodiak. "That bear has Danny's eyes." The weight of the room shifted. As hours passed, Kodiak's vitals began to stabilize, barely. He didn't move much, but he was breathing. His body fought through waves of infection. Tessa applied salves to his open sores. He was given painkillers, glucose, and powerful anti-inflammatory meds. She stayed up all night, refusing to rest. By dawn, Alex was still sitting beside him, blanket over his shoulders, journal open in his lap. He read aloud, something he hadn't done in years. Not case reports, not affidavits. Stories, pieces of memory, Danny's favorite comic book, a poem their mother used to read. Nothing made sense out loud, but he kept going. And then, around 6:12 a.m., something happened. Kodiak stirred. Just a twitch, a subtle movement of his snout. Then he slowly, painfully, tilted his massive head toward Alex's voice. His good eye opened halfway, and for the first time there was light in it. Recognition. Alex leaned in, stunned. "Hey, you're still in there, aren't you?" Kodiak wheezed, but his nose moved. He was scenting the air. When Alex reached into the cage, Kodiak didn't flinch. In fact, he pressed his head gently against the bars. A silent thank you. Alex blinked hard. "You're not just surviving," he whispered. "You're choosing to live." From that day forward, he came daily. Brought blankets, soft food, even a speaker to play the sounds of the forest. He sat and talked, sometimes for hours. Kodiak began lifting his head when Alex entered. He tracked movement with one eye. He grunted when Alex laughed as if trying to mimic the sound. Then came the knock on the clinic door. 2 men in government-issued windbreakers. Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. "We heard about the animal you brought in," one of them said, stepping inside without invitation. "We need to see it." Tessa stepped protectively in front of the operating room door. "He's under emergency care. He's not going anywhere." The second man held up a clipboard. "He's illegal property, registered to a criminal enterprise. That makes him evidence." Alex stepped in. "Then he belongs in protective custody." The first man shook his head. "He's dangerous, diseased, a liability. He'll never be safe. We've already filed for euthanasia clearance." The word hit the room like a grenade. Alex's voice dropped into a deadly calm. "You want to kill him?" "He's suffering," the agent said. "Putting him down is the humane option." Alex looked through the window at Kodiak, who was watching the door, nose twitching at the scent of his visitor. "No," Alex said. "That bear has more fight left in him than any of us." The 2 officials exchanged a look. "Then you better lawyer up," one of them said coldly, "because this isn't over." They left. Tessa turned to Alex, pale. "What now?" Alex's jaw tightened. "Now," he said. "We fight for him, just like he fought to stay alive." It was the kind of night no one talked about in the daylight. Down an unmarked dirt road in a forgotten corner of rural Montana, cars with blacked-out plates crept toward a massive rusted barn. Inside, beneath flickering floodlights and the acrid stench of fear and filth, a secret was unfolding, one that would shake the nation to its core. The underground animal auction was in full swing. Cages lined the walls, stacked 2 and 3 high, holding everything from scarred pit bulls to exotic birds with clipped wings. Bidders, many of them with thick wallets and thicker egos, smoked cigars, drank from flasks, and placed their bets on lives with cold indifference. The next lot dragged onto the stage brought the crowd to a hush. A bear, but not just any bear. He was a mangy, skeletal husk of what once must have been a proud grizzly. His fur was patchy and clotted with dried blood. Pus oozed from open sores that spread across his flank like a map of pain. He limped forward, one leg clearly broken, dragging a rusted chain behind him that clinked hollowly against the metal stage. His head hung low. His eyes, sunken, lifeless, never lifted to meet the audience. The auctioneer didn't skip a beat. "All right, folks, feast your eyes on this sorry excuse for a grizzly," he barked, slapping the bear's side with a stick. The animal flinched but didn't make a sound. "Barely alive. Who'll waste $1 on this pile of fur and fleas?" A wave of laughter rolled through the crowd. "Put him down already," someone yelled from the back. "Looks like a rug with a pulse," another jeered. In the far corner, shrouded in shadows and silence, one man didn't laugh. Detective Alex Monroe. He sat stone still, fists clenched on his lap, eyes locked on the bear. To most in the room, he was just another bidder, dressed in faded flannel and worn boots. But beneath the facade was a seasoned undercover cop with a lifetime of scars, and tonight, a mission no one else knew about. The bear didn't react to the ridicule. He swayed slightly as if even standing was a burden too great. A trickle of blood ran from his cracked nose. His breathing came in shallow rattles. He looked more ghost than beast. Flashbulbs of trauma flickered in Alex's mind. Brief, brutal images of what this animal must have endured. Electric prods, whipping poles, small, rusted cages, crowds cheering as he danced on hot plates. It was a story Alex had heard too many times, but never this close, never this real. The auctioneer sighed dramatically. No takers. Come on, folks, think of the novelty. Mount him, skin him, use him as bear jerky. Do I hear $1? Silence. Then, a single hand rose. Row 6, far back. Everyone turned. Laughter broke out again. You serious, cowboy? Someone cackled. You gonna cuddle him to death? But the hand didn't waver. The auctioneer squinted. $20. Final call. Going once, twice. Sold. The moment the gavel slammed down, everything changed. Alex stood. He reached into his coat and tossed something through the air. It clattered onto the stage at the auctioneer's feet. A badge. The crowd froze. Detective Alex Monroe, Montana State Police, he announced. This auction is over. For a heartbeat, there was only silence. Then the back doors burst open. SWAT units stormed in from every angle. Flashbangs, shouts, boots stomping through hay. Chaos erupted. Bidders ran. Handlers reached for weapons. Muzzles clicked. Crates toppled. But Alex had eyes for only one thing. The bear. Handlers tried to drag the animal back, but Alex was faster. He lunged forward, tackled one of them to the ground, cuffed him with one hand while grabbing the chain in the other. He knelt beside the bear, breathing hard. It's over, he whispered, stroking the animal's sunken muzzle. You're coming with me now. The bear didn't flinch, didn't resist. His eyes fluttered closed as if, for the first time in years, he could rest. Outside, the cold air bit hard. A crate was loaded into a reinforced truck. Alex climbed in beside it, never taking his eyes off the bear. As the doors shut, sirens wailed in the distance. The auction was history. But peace was short-lived. 10 minutes into the drive, the bear began to tremble violently. Hey, hey, hold on, Alex said, pounding on the divider. Pull over. The bear collapsed, limp, lifeless. No, 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 no. Alex scrambled to the cage, fingers slipping through the bars. Stay with me. Just hold on. The driver skidded to a stop. Headlights caught snow falling gently across the windshield. Inside, the world held its breath. Then, cut to black.